You're listening to a show on the Planet Film podcast feed.
All right, everybody, welcome. So, as you know, obviously, this is not live on tape. It's still premiering at the normal time. Cross our fingers tomorrow at 8 p.m. If the YouTube gods are with us. Just before we get into it, before we introduce ourselves, just basically, this is going to be the last show for me for like about a week. Hopefully, I'm only going to miss one main show. The other shows I will not be on. I won't be able to make it. But hopefully this show I will not be on next week, but hopefully in 2 weeks time I'll be on it. For the main show, we're still working on I'm going to try and get everything sent over to TJ so that he can at least just record it. And then maybe when I get the so it probably won't be live, but maybe when I get everything set up at the new house, I'll be able to put it up online for you guys. We're still working out the details with that. But let's go ahead and get into it. As always, my name is Sean Monk.
And I'm TJ Cornwell.
And this is the Planet Film Podcast. All right, welcome. So, with the brief intro aside, as we were saying, this is being recorded in advance. We're recording this on Monday, so just quick disclaimer up at the top. If we miss any sort of news or anything that comes out on Tuesday, which does tend to happen, we've had several times where it comes out right before we go online, that we just won't be able to get to it. We'll probably tweet about it if it's something huge and like earth-shattering. If not, we'll just catch it in the next show. We'll get caught up. But that would be why if we miss any like huge glaring things, if you guys are like, why didn't they cover that? Also, this is going to be a YouTube premiere, so still feel free, watch it. We won't be able to read it back. But if you guys want to, still sound off in the live chat. You're still going to have that option on the YouTube premiere. It's still going to be, like we said, at the same time. We're just going to let you guys know about it with the tweet tomorrow and everything. So go ahead and still use the live chat, talk to each other or anything like that. Comment on what we're talking about. We will see it. When we do come back, we'll let you guys know what we thought, if there's any good opinions, just like we do when we read them off on the live show. But yeah, other than that, it's probably going to be a quick show today. And then just the reason that we're doing it like this, TJ's got a commitment tomorrow. And then this upcoming week is finally I'm moving. So I have, for those who haven't seen my computer setup video on the channel, I have a big computer setup that I have to dismantle, and I'm going to finally get it all dismantled and everything in the next couple of days. So that's why I will not be on next week. And then next week, when the show normally is actually the day that we get the keys and stuff and move in on. But yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and chug through what we got. We do actually, I say it's going to be a short show, but we do actually have a decent amount of news, and we are doing a review, but it's not going to be a film review. So TJ and I, we both played through the entire campaign of the Avengers game, the new game by Marvel Games and Square Enix. Played through that, so we are going to be giving you our thoughts. Not going to be probably as in-depth or as long as a film review, just going to give the overall feel of what we thought of the game, and then maybe some light spoiler talk as well. But let's go ahead and get right into it. So what have you been up to, TJ? I know that you have something you want to talk about. I'll let you talk about that, and then I have something that I want you to talk about as well, so we will get to that.
Well, I got my COVID test finally.
There we go.
It's Saturday. I keep forgetting it's Monday. It kind of feels like a Sunday. So we're waiting on those results. I did get there. It's funny because I'm supposed to have one on Wednesday that I had made like a few days ago because it was like, as I was saying, I think last week, it's been a pain to get one for me, at least. Everybody else seems to be fine, but I made my work made one for me, and I got there on Saturday, and they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Timothy Cornwell," and they were like, "Well, we don't have you." I was like,
"Oh my!"
Like, "Okay." They took my stuff. They took it anyway. Like they took down my information and stuff. What else? What else? That's about it for me. I mean, I've just been kind of past 2 days. We've just kind of been playing Avengers.
Well, do you have what you want to talk about with
Oh
the
yeah, you want
game?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The other
We'll go
game?
now. Okay, so yeah. Last week, Mario All Stars was announced. 3D All Stars, sorry, because I believe they released Mario All Stars like with like Super Mario Bros. 3 and regular Super Mario Bros. And just like a bunch of different games. I think it was like on Wii U or something like that.
Mhm.
And now they're releasing Super Mario 3D All Stars. Okay, so but also just quick on with this announcement, it was like they have like their conferences, they call them Nintendo Directs. They're usually about like 20-30 minutes.
Mhm.
So what else they announced was this like Game and Watch like retro, like you know how they re-release like SNES stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like a Game Watch type thing, just like that.
Okay.
What else did they do? They also announced a bunch of games coming to Switch Online. I believe they were. I don't remember which ones they were, but they're also releasing like a Super Mario Brothers like competitive mode where I guess it was like a Tetris game that just came out where it's like you when you're running you can mess with other people that you're playing against. And then the big news that they announced, which I just said was Super Mario 3D All Stars, which includes Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, so now as I'm saying this, you're probably like, oh, they remastered all the games, like, you know, it's this
Mhm.
whole big thing.
Maybe new
And
sequences, maybe a couple new like
maybe
levels or something.
exactly.
Mhm.
That's not it at all. Nope, not
Oh
even
boy.
close. So first of all, we're releasing it. This is fine. They're releasing it in one cartridge, so it's going to be like all 3 games on one. You pay $60 for all 3 games.
Yeah.
But it's a limited release. So you can only get it till March 2021. And it comes out on the 18th of September, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 18th of September. So it's digital. You can get it digitally or physically, but both of them are you're only able to get both until March, and that's it. Which a lot of people calling it like the whole Disney Vault thing, where Disney like is like, you can't get this movie anymore. We're gonna put it away so you can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And the other thing with the game is the games are they're not remastered at all. So basically, I think like 64, when they showed the video, it didn't look any different. Like it literally looks like the game that came out. I don't even know what year it came out, but the same game that came out on Nintendo 64.
Mhm.
I think it's just a different. It's high res. It's like up resed, so it's like widescreen now. I think so. It'll fit like the Switch.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like both handheld
Yeah, I'm
and
looking
if
at
you're just
it.
playing
I'm looking at
docked.
it right here. I got it
Yeah.
pulled up on screen.
Um,
Not much of a difference.
yeah.
Not a $60 difference.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Galaxy and Sunshine. It's like the same thing where they're not like remastered, they're not like reskinned, so it's not like 4K skins. Like because you'll see like on Reddit, like people, because if you like, you can take the game and just download the ROM. A lot of people do, and then emulate it on your
Yeah.
PC and just play it like that, and then you can like get different texture packs to like make the skins look better.
Yeah, yeah.
And somebody like did that and made it like 4K and it looked amazing. And it's like, why couldn't you just do that?
Mhm.
It's like, and this is one of the I always say, like, and full disclosure, I've already pre-ordered this, so it's like they already have my money, but I'm still gonna complain because Nintendo always does these things that I just don't. They just make no sense.
Yeah.
And this is on top of the fact, like, I feel like these games should already be, even though they're doing this, I feel like they should already be on the Nintendo Switch like online thing with the subscription service.
Yes, because I have delved a little bit into that on my Switch with like the 2 packs that they have, where you can get like old school Metroid, old school like even like Yoshi games and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they have like SNES and then they have NES games.
Yeah.
But that's like it. That's all they have really.
and it doesn't include any of these premium titles.
Like
or
give
as
me
Nintendo
like
would
give
say,
me the
premium
Nintendo
title.
64s, give me the GameCubes. Like, I want to give you my money. Like, and obviously you're gonna take it here, but I will keep re-upping a Switch subscription service online, even though it's not that expensive to play those games. Like I want Ocarina of Time. I want Majora's Mask. I want all the Metroids. Like,
And that's the
just
Princess
put them on the
Zorla
thing.
games.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say? What games?
I was making
okay.
that Jeopardy,
It's
the
like,
one Jeopardy meme where she says Princess Zorla instead of Zelda.
it's like just put them on there. I just don't understand like why can't
It's
you,
like you
even
said,
with
because they want to make it even more artificially rare by making it a limited
Exactly.
release, so that then in 5 years they can release it again for a month instead of 3 months, and then it's even
the
more.
reason I'm more apt to buy is because I've never played Galaxy and I've never played Sunshine, so I want to play those. 64, I think I played when you could download it onto the Wii. So I'm pretty sure I played that already. But
yes,
and yeah, it's very frustrating because all the fans, like, I feel like a lot of people grew up with Nintendo. Like, you didn't. I feel like some people, like, or I shouldn't say most people. Like, I for one did not grow up like playing PlayStation or Xbox. I grew up playing like GameCube. So it's like I want that nostalgia. So it's like, just put it on the freaking Switch, because it's like, I know you can do it because you did it with the Wii. You ported them all over to the Wii, and even if you make me buy them like I did on the Wii, like the Wii Shop channel, you had to buy the games. Obviously they weren't, I don't think they were as expensive. They're probably like around $30 or something like that. And obviously you'd only be getting a person's one-time payment if you put them on Switch Online. But even if you just like port them over to the Switch, it's like, I will buy them. Just like, and a lot of people, I feel like everybody would buy them. Anybody who wants to play the games, they're gonna buy them.
yeah. Anybody who's a fan or wants the newer version.
Yeah, like Brandon, like our friend Brandon. Brandon, I feel like would definitely buy that. Even though he's like beat all the games, blah blah blah. But it's like it's just like they make it so hard to be a fan of Nintendo. It's because they just always are like, no.
Yeah.
You want this? No, you don't. I'm going to show you what you want. It's like, no, that's not what I want. I want what you're not going to give me. So that was my rant. But again, full disclosure, they already have my money, so it's like, it's like old man yelling at cloud.
Yeah, basically. All right. Oh yeah. So the thing that I want you to talk about though is finally one of the things we talk about on the podcast all the time is I will bring up a TV show and I'm like, oh, great TV show, and TJ's like, put it on the list. He finished 2 of them recently. 2 of them. Not finished because there immediately was more of one, but he completely finished all of Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, The Return, the original 2 seasons, and season 1 of Amazon Prime's The Boys. So hit me with a give me your quick non-spoiler TJ reviews. Like one paragraph, if you will, for each day. You take a little bit more time on Twin Peaks, obviously, because that's hours and hours and hours. But
The Boys, I thought was a great first season. That ending, I was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, because they kind of subvert your expectations. Because also you're kind of throughout the whole entire show, I was kind of like, I think around episode 4 or 5, I was like, why is Butcher doing what he's doing?
Yeah.
It's like, why is he like this? And I like the relationship between oh my God, Starlight and Huey. I like that they kind of go back and forth and etc. I just like the whole concept that it's like superheroes aren't the good guys,
Yeah.
And I mean, even with that, it's still like the boys are still like not great people,
No,
and I just love the like the names too, like Milkman or Mother's Milk.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Is it a comic? Is it based off a comic?
Okay.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and then in that, I mean, not a spoiler, but just in that show, Simon Pegg plays Huey's father because in the comic book, Huey is based on Simon Pegg in the comic book. It looks like Simon Pegg, and he acts like Simon Pegg. So that's why. But they were like, well, Simon Pegg's too old to play Huey now, so they cast him as his dad, who also is a pretty good character in the comic, and also a decent character in the show too, decent size.
Yeah. Overall, for The Boys, I'd have to say it's like a must watch in my opinion. I feel like if you're not watching it, it's like you're missing out.
Yeah.
On to the next. Okay. I have differing opinions on all of these. All right.
Or is it on to the first?
On to the first,
or the
yeah.
before,
So
or the backwards.
we're gonna start with Twin Peaks, the original series, so season 1 and 2. Um, so Twin Peaks season 1, I would say, is the best Twin Peaks out of all 4. So season 1, season 2, the movie,
and season 3, the return.
Return. Twin Peaks season 1, I feel like is such an original idea in just like it's kind of like off the wall. It's only something that could come from David Lynch, and of course Mark Frost, as Daniel always reminds me, is that he also wrote this.
Yeah,
It's not just David Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
And being not that big, like I saw the only David Lynch movie I had seen was Eraserhead, and I was kind of like I liked it, but I was like, what am I watching? Like, like what is this? So season 1 I really liked. Season 2, and I had stopped. I had finished season 1 because I think it's like 8 episodes or so. Like the first episode's like an hour and a half, and then the next are like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I finished season 1. I started season 2, but I had taken like a really big gap in between. Then I just started up when we moved in, a few weeks ago, and I was just kind of running through it. Season 2, I think, in my opinion, gets off track in the middle. We have a lot of different subplots going on that kind of move away from Laura Palmer and her story, and because as soon as I mean, are we? It's an old series. Are we like spoiling it, or does it matter?
Depends on. I mean, I guess it would depend on what it is. What do you have like a?
Well, okay. As soon as I'm just gonna say like her dad's name. Like as soon as we find out who
just the
Leland
stuff
is,
with Leland, just the stuff with Leland in season
as soon
2.
as it exactly like as soon as we go there, I feel like there's a few episodes after that where it's like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's not really for the people listening. It's not really a spoiler. It's just her dad. It takes on kind of a different role in the show in season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
And it's kind of like it's just I don't know. And don't get me wrong, like the last like episode of the season, I was like, this is where it ends. Because I knew about I mean, if I was watching it like 10 years ago before the return, I'd have been like, well, what is this? Like, are you gonna follow it up or anything? So now that there is obviously a follow up. So yeah, overall season 2 not as good as the first one. Still like it. There's a few episodes in there. I mean, I can't name them like off the top of my head, but it's still like a decent season, but it gets off track.
Yeah.
The movie, so Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me,
which for those who don't know is a prequel set like just a few days before, basically leading up to the original show. With all the same cast, we should say,
except Donna.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
does not have the same Donna.
Yes.
Which apparently I think it was she didn't want to come back because she didn't like the way she was written in the second season or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And not enough Kyle MacLachlan, I'll tell you right now. After this, I want to watch everything he's ever been in. After watching Twin Peaks, I love him.
You know what you got to watch next? What you and Danielle both have to watch next is Portlandia.
I heard that he's on that show. Or what is that on?
I don't know if it's on anything now. They used to have all the seasons on Netflix.
Oh, it's over?
I don't really know. It was like one of those things where it was like for like a while it was only 7 seasons. Then all of a sudden a couple years ago they were like, oh, here, but there's a season 8. And then there just hasn't been a new one. I don't think it's been like officially canceled. I think it's just like on indefinite hiatus. Or something. Yeah. But yeah, I think they're on Netflix. But he is amazing in Portlandia.
So obviously during when I was watching the movie, obviously I was like, oh, he's not going to be in it. Really, he's in it. I think for like 5 minutes max.
Yeah.
And the movie was like, I didn't think it like I looked at like the Metacritic score and it was like terrible, and I was like, I don't think it's like that bad. Like I liked it, and I saw like the reason for it. Like I liked like the background, but like it honestly made me hate Laura. Like if I remember correctly about it, because I just couldn't stand her being like too different. Like that just really bothered me. Even though I know that's like the whole aspect of her is like she's two different people. Like Donna, you don't really know me. And there's just some really weird like things like when they're in the club with Donna, and then Jacques Renault I think is there.
Oh,
and
Jacques
there's like the
Renault,
two
man.
other guys. I
Yeah.
was like, what is this? Like, what are we
Yeah.
watching here? And of course, it's it's just David Lynch and Mark Frost in their minds. Like,
Yeah.
yep, exactly.
This
We're
is
getting
how it
somewhere.
works. Just trust me. This is how it works.
Exactly. So if we had to do a quick ranking, I'd probably do like Twin Peaks season 1.
Oh yeah, where would you put The Return?
2. The Return, I would put 3.
What would be your thoughts on Return?
The Return, I just don't like. I don't know. Like, I just
come on. You don't like a whole
I
episode
wanted,
of Ben knocking on a wall or whatever?
I wanted more of all these characters, and it seems like he brought he wrote some of them very small parts just to be like, oh, there's Audrey, like there she is, and there's Ben.
Yeah.
Like Ben actually had like kind of a story. Audrey had nothing. There was no point in her being in the show at all.
Yeah,
nothing.
I was surprisingly, I was fine with God, it's been so long, I can't remember his name, but Ben and his brother. I was fine. I was fine with that
exactly. I was like,
storyline.
oh, Ben, there he is.
Yeah, like I didn't need it, which is weird because in the original 2 seasons, it's like, yeah, Ben's a big part of it, but like Audrey's the main like one that you're following of that family. But then it's like, then in The Return, I was like, I am in on this. Give me more of the lodge.
It's just like, Audrey for 2 episodes arguing with this small husband that like about I want to go to the bar. Well, put your coat on. I don't want to put my coat on. Well, put your coat on. I don't want to put my coat on. It's like, what are we talking about here? It's like what am I watching?
Yeah.
And I wanted more like Coop. You don't get him until the last 2 episodes, I think it is.
Yeah. And now, granted, for those who want to watch it, you get a ton of Kyle MacLachlan. It's just the way the Return is structured. You get a ton of Kyle MacLachlan, but like he said, Coop is not in it that much. You get some like Gordon and Diane, and like that whole dynamic is solid. That's my favorite part is the Gordon stuff. The actual FBI stuff is my favorite part of The Return. Even more so than the Twin Peaks, like the actual town of Twin Peaks stuff.
Through the first, and I want more of that. Like I need more like Twin Peaks.
Also, what's it called? He just recently died. Robert Forrester coming back to fill in for it because Harry, the actor that plays Harry, had retired long ago from acting, so he came in to play the new sheriff.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
okay. I was just wondering why he didn't come back.
Yeah, he just he was just one of those like a Gene Hackman type that was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. But Robert Forrester, so good. Him and Andy, just everything with the police department was really, really good.
And it's just like. I wrote this like on a Letterboxd review because when I saw the Letterboxd reviews, it's like 5s across the board. Like it's astounding. Like,
well, I feel like Letterboxd isn't a great indicator.
Yeah.
They're very like Lynchian, David Fincher.
No, exactly. That's because I was reading them and it was like, this is the best thing on TV ever, and blah blah blah. And I was like, this answered a few questions. This didn't, and then it's like at the end, it's like, well, here's another 20 questions.
Yeah,
that don't get answered.
The way that I think, I can't remember if it was David Lynch himself, but the way that somebody said, just to sum up The Return in general, was they were like, it's basically it's basically like this is all the crap that happened before what you would expect season 3 to be. You know what I mean? Because it's like the show ends and it's like Cooper's back and he's like, all right, let's go get him. And then it's like and then it ends. Like, and then they're just like they're just like driving through Vegas or something, and then it just like ends.
Especially because this brings Diane into the fold, like you said in the first 2 seasons, like original Twin Peaks. You're like, who the hell is Diane? Because I'm like, when is she? Is she gonna come into play at some point, or what's going on here? But there's just like things that like just don't like the guys that look like they're covered in like they're like coal miners. You know what I'm talking about? The guys that like squish people's heads in. He's like, got a light, that guy. And then they see him in that
whole episode.
I liked that. I love that guy. I love the got a light guy. And then I love David Lynch. I love his character. Every time he just like starts yelling, I just Gordon, this is hilarious.
Oh my god.
And him, Gordon and Coop's relationship is, oh my god, I
Fantastic.
love that too.
Yeah.
But sorry to end this. It's just, I think, yeah, like what I wrote is like, I just don't. It answered a few questions, but then it's like you have questions with Laura's mom, and you have questions with, especially how Laura's mom things end. And then I looked up like a theory, and I was like, what is that? Like, what? Where did you come up with this? I was like, where did this person come up with it from watching these 18 episodes?
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of questions that I had that I know will never get answered ever, because that's the last of Twin Peaks ever. Because I don't think it's ever coming back.
Yeah.
Especially because he's like, how old is he? Like 80
Old.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's older.
All right. Well, all right.
Oh,
So that was
boy.
a nice Twin Peaks talk. So let's go ahead and head into new news. So we just have a couple of stories here, which are going to be some movie news, some box office news for the first time in a long time, and then we're going to go and cover some controversial news happenings that is kind of going down with the whole Warner Brothers Ray Fisher situation. So, first up here, as you can see on screen right now, is that we have the first look at Netflix and David Fincher's new film, Mank, which is about Herman J. Mankiewicz. It's about the making of the film Citizen Kane. It stars, it stars Gary Oldman in the titular role, Tom Burke as Orson Welles, Amanda Seyfried, a bunch of different actors. And obviously this is big because, this is coming off the heels of a couple of years now, that, maybe actually even more than that, because it's, you have to assume it was when it was first in production, which is the partnership between Fincher and Netflix going back to, the early seasons of, the name just escaped me. What is the name of that show? The criminal show? Mindhunter. That's what it is. Yep. Yeah, Mindhunter. It just completely blanked out of my head. So this is obviously following up on that partnership that they had a great success with that show. All right. So basically, yeah, you got a huge cast here, but the big news here is that we have some images. So as you can see, here's one. TJ, I don't know. Do you have these pulled up? Are you looking at?
Yeah, I have the article pulled up.
Okay. So just what are your thoughts as I have them on screen here? There's a really good one of Gary Oldman there. What are your thoughts on these images? On these first images of Mank? Kind of chronicling. I don't know if the film is going to be in black and white. It looks.
I was just wondering that.
To me, these pictures look like they were filmed in black and white. The lighting looks. Now, something that what I'm talking about here is like you could take any picture and just make it black and white, but especially I'm looking at this one of Amanda Seyfried's face. You can tell she kind of looks lit for black and white. It looks like it was intentionally lit to be a black and white scene. So what are your thoughts on the images, and what are your thoughts if this film is going to be in all in black and white?
I'm pretty excited for it. I feel like it would make, if it's all in black and white, I feel like that would make sense because it's probably a period piece in that, because obviously Citizen Kane is in black and white. I don't know. I don't know much about this, but it's got a few people that interest me, and I've always seen, I think, 3 Fincher movies. So I've seen Zodiac, Social Network, and Gone Girl. Which
those are good ones.
I haven't seen Gone Girl in a long time.
Those are good ones.
I remember it being very good. I don't know. I'm excited for it. Is it? So it's a Netflix? I didn't know it was Netflix. I didn't even know he signed like a deal for that.
Yeah. So it's just coming off the partnership they had from Mindhunter. Okay. But yeah, I don't know if this started its life as a Netflix movie or if maybe it moved to Netflix. I'm not sure. But either way, yeah, it's going to be a Netflix movie. So again, we're seeing, these auteur directors making these streaming service movies. Again, I think it's just another indication that these streaming movies are real. They're They're big. They are cinema. Thing. Yeah, they are moving in that direction.
Speaking
Sorry,
of auteur
Spielberg.
directors, real quick. Sorry, this is kind of off tangent.
Yeah.
Did you see that
Joss Whedon? Oh.
No, Coppola's cutting a new cut for The Godfather Part 3.
Part 3? Oh my god.
I've seen Part 1 and Part 2, and I never finished Part 3. I think I started to fall asleep or something like
Just
that.
when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. That's the one. That is the one. Why'd you do it,
Big
Michael?
news on that front as well.
Why'd you do it, Michael?
Exactly.
Why? Oh man.
I know
What
it
a
was
movie.
you.
I know it was you. I killed my brother. All right. we got one day we will review the Godfathers on here. They will have their own episodes.
Yeah.
But one day we will get to them. All right. Yeah, so awesome to see these images. Like I said, if the film is in black and white, awesome, even better. This definitely gives me serious Trumbo vibes. That is absolutely what this feels like to me.
Is that the Bryan Cranston one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, because that movie's incredible and his performance is incredible. I think this is going to be another one that is going to just show again how, I'll say the swear word, how fucking incredible Gary Oldman is as an actor. Yeah. I think it's going to be one that probably maybe gets him nominated. Only time will tell. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, you look at this cast here. You got this first picture, which is Charles Dance as William Randolph Hearst, which is amazing. Then yeah, you just have so many people in here. Like we said, Tom Burke as Orson Welles, Lily Collins as Rita Alexander, and then obviously Amanda Seyfried as Marion Davies, and then Gary Oldman as Herman Mankiewicz. So yeah, again, just really, really excited to see that. Let's see if we have any sort of release date here. Oh, sometime this fall. Okay,
oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. So we are in
sooner
fall.
than expected.
Yeah, we are almost in fall. So wow. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the other thing that I love about streaming service movies is they're like, first look at Netflix is new, and then you're like, oh, when's it coming out? And they're like, in 11 days. And you're like, what? Whereas if this was a theatrical movie, they would put out these pictures 2 years ago. They would put them out the day they were taken. You know what I mean? And be like, oh, looks like Mank's coming along well. Whereas like Netflix literally just needs to put it out like a month before, and then people are hooked. All right, yeah, so definitely exciting news. I'm excited to see that. We'll probably be reviewing that on the channel. So let us go ahead and move on to our next story, which the next
TENET.
2 stories are as our segment here. I need to make a little like graphic, like the bat signal, TENET talk, which is some more TENET talk for you guys. I assure you, listeners, it's gonna be over soon. We're gonna get through this together. It will. This movie will die one day. So basically here, we are going to be talking about the fact that TENET was released and is Christopher Nolan's first film since The Prestige, which is 2006, long time ago. A lot of movies between now and then to land a B cinema score, or I should say a B or less. Everything else has been B plus, A plus. So
do you want to explain what that is real quick?
Yeah, so basically what cinema score is, in the same way that we talked about, I think, last week about Rotten Tomatoes being an aggregate, cinema score is, I think, more what people think Rotten Tomatoes is, which is cinema score is literally, there will be a cinema score, like freelancer, like representative, literally at a movie theater that as people come out, they are handing them little sheets of paper that says, how do you rank this movie? How do you rank this movie? How do you rank this movie? And that is all tabulated to make a cinema score. And they do letter scoring, B minus, B plus, A minus, C, all that stuff. Yeah. And it's one of the, I would say, one of the absolute truest indications of where a movie lies with the audience. So for me, like, I never look at the audience score on anything besides cinema score. Just because it's a very real indicator, because it is real people. It's as wide a net as you could possibly cast to kind of get feedback on the film. That being said, the scores are not as evenly distributed amongst all of movies as you might think. Something like a Nolan movie, that is almost every time a guaranteed something in the A range, A minus, A, or A plus. So this is pretty big news to have Tenet be a B. As I said, it's the first since The Prestige. That includes, things like Dark Knight Rises and stuff or even Interstellar that maybe weren't universally, loved.
Which probably contributing to that is the fact that I feel like I've seen a lot of people say that they come out of it and they just don't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of Nolan's movies are like really make you think, which is like good. Like I want like a movie to make me think about something, like especially like Inception, because it's like, what? Wait, so this is happening, but no, that's a dream. But wait, is this a dream? But what? And this obviously again, Tenet messes with the whole theory of time, and you're going back and backwards and blah blah blah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wonder. I would compare that to. Actually, let me just look it up real quick. I want to compare that to what Inception was, because I feel like they have like similar plot devices.
Yeah, but
right?
I feel like people have said that Tenet is his most. I don't want to use the word meandering.
Inception's B plus.
Okay, so B plus. But still, that's the thing with CinemaScore, is that the difference between a B and B plus is like thousands of votes. Like it's a big difference. That's why, like, when the movie lies in the letter it lies in, it's very hard to change after that. That's why it's a very, very good indicator, because that means if the majority of people put it as a B, it's a B. Like, you could almost take that to the bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I've heard is, I've heard that this is kind of the one where he maybe indulges himself too much. In the whole kind of like we were just talked about with David Lynch, where he kind of goes too far into his little Nolan-isms. You know what I mean? I've heard that from a lot of different reviews. That's like I saw one review that was just like my review for Tenet, and it was the Jim Halpert gift from The Office where he just looks in the camera and he goes, "What is going on?" and I was like, "Oh boy, that does not bode well for the film." But
box office.
Yeah, the flip side to this, which is our second Tenet story, is Tenet is soaring well above expectations for box office. Internationally, that is, I should say. It's doing okay here domestically. There are very, very few theaters open. Right now, there's probably just a couple hundred out of the thousands of screens that are in American cinemas. But there's just a couple hundred for Regal and AMC both. It's hard to explain because it's a couple hundred theaters for those two big chains, but the places that have theaters open are very small markets. So it's not like there are hundreds of theaters open.
Like a town in North Dakota or something like that.
Exactly. Like, it's not like there are hundreds of theaters open in California or in New York. Like, those are specifically the places that there are not. And I think that what we talked about months back is, I think it's like New York and California account for like 60% of all domestic earnings. So yeah, it's not quite the domestic rollout, that normal movies see. That's why it's not performing as well domestically.
But I feel like for pandemic numbers, I feel like this is
an unsafe amount of tickets being sold.
Yeah, I saw that it was way more than I thought. I was like, 20 million? I was like,
Yes.
oh, for domestic, that's
So
not
basically,
bad.
here, let me throw the numbers up on screen. So here we are looking at, now you got to keep in mind, Tenet, you're talking a budget, at least they're saying that, I think rumors were between
Hmm.
150 and 200 million dollars. Like, it's a Chris Nolan
Yeah.
movie. It's not a franchise, but you got to
Hmm.
understand, if you don't know the clout that Chris Nolan has in Hollywood, his
Yeah.
movies are big. They cost a ton and they are marketed to hell. This movie even more so, because this movie had like 5 or 6 big marketing pushes because it
Yeah.
kept going. Like, that's the thing that people don't know. That's the thing that really you got to think about. All these movies that keep getting put, this is just a quick aside, all these movies that keep getting pushed, that's more and more marketing. Like, I think about No Time to Die. Like, No Time to Die just this week started back up on their ad campaign. And
Hmm.
it's like, they were done with their ad campaign. Their marketing budget was done. And now they have to
Yeah.
do it all over again. Like, I can't even imagine how much money that adds by literally just having to start over your marketing campaign
Hmm.
because you had no choice. God, man, do you remember that day that we were working in the theater and it was that day that everything went to hell and they announced that James Bond got delayed? It
I
was
think
the
we were
same.
working together. We're like, oh, that's canceled. We're like Wonder Woman. Will that be? And they're like, nope, pushing
Yeah.
that. And then,
Well, just think about it. Remember, we heard November?
yeah,
And then we were like, Fast and Furious is getting pushed to 2021? No
yeah,
way.
okay.
These people are crazy. Well, it's now September and there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
So I just,
It's
sorry,
like
I just,
because I love what because I saw this tweet that people were like, I love what people sitting here saying 2020 is a wash, like 2021 coronavirus is gonna go away.
mhm. January 1st,
Oh my,
man.
yeah,
January 1st, it's gone. It's like, well, it's like an Airbnb. You know, we booked it for a year.
yeah.
Um, oh, if we booked it for a year, though, we have to wait until like February, though.
Hmm.
Um, all right. So, anyways, back to Tenet talk. So the numbers that I had on screen there for you guys, you saw there domestically, it's made 20 million and $200,000. So basically 20.2 million in the states. Internationally, it's picked up 126 million, which that domestic number is what people were expecting. They were expecting
Yeah,
around 20 million for the domestic numbers. They were maybe expecting a little bit more than 20 million because these are very conservative. You got to remember, all the projections and stuff come from the studio, so they always go low with their
hmm,
projections. Um, so 20 million is good. It's not great, but it's good. What
yeah,
is fantastic is they were expecting like 35 to 50 million for the international, and that ranked in over 100 million. That
yeah,
was like crazy money. They were not expecting that big of an opening at all. Yeah, like you see here, countries like you got France bringing in almost 11 million by itself. UK almost 15 million. And it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up in all of these different countries and territories. And this is just what they are putting. Like, yeah, you see Australia and New Zealand, you know, they've been doing pretty good with the virus as of late. They hauled in, you know, almost 6 million. South Korea almost 6 million as well, and then even Vietnam, you pulling in $1 million in Vietnam, that's not bad at all. And then also it hit big in China.
China,
China
yeah,
is something that hit huge for this movie. They didn't even think that China was going to be an option to open.
yeah,
And it ended up being an option right at the last second. And it made over $30 million in China, which is huge. And you got to remember, this is the first time we're getting numbers in. So this movie just started in its release. So who knows where these numbers are going to go in the future? They could go up, could go down. You could see a massive spike, just the same at the same chance, I would say, that you could see a massive plummet. But what are your thoughts, TJ? What are your thoughts on the numbers, on Tenet's performance specifically in the international space, in Europe and Asia as well?
I'm not really surprised because I feel like every other country is doing better than us. Um, Again, if this was like regular, like think of this as like a normal year, that'd be awful. I feel like, especially obviously
Oh,
like
absolutely.
domestically. Yeah. um, but obviously they still have a long way to go before they can make their money back.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I want to see it still. Obviously, I'll wait. By the way, full disclosure, my LEDs are actually falling off the wall right behind me. If you
Yeah.
see that in my
You
mirror,
yeah, you can see it in the mirror. Well, it'll keep the
um,
show interesting, I guess. So
yeah. Um, oh, there goes.
there he goes. Well, all right.
That was funny.
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Oh man.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm excited to see what it does. I'm hoping they release. They won't anytime soon, but I'm hoping they release a VOD soon.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, are they gonna keep it in? Also, okay, let's wrap up Tenet talk. I think it's gonna be a
Okay.
while. I think Warner Brothers and Chris Nolan are gonna hold on to this tightly. Let's switch
Yeah.
over. This is not in our notes, but you just saying that Mulan. Okay, we're switching over here. Disney
Oh,
Plus
right,
talk.
Mulan.
Mulan is making bank. I don't
Is
have
it?
I don't have the numbers, but Mulan, it's really hard to budge on the trending page on Disney Plus. It's not one of those things like Netflix where Netflix just puts something out and all of a sudden it's number 1 on trending.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Plus is completely an algorithm based on viewership, and Mulan's been released for 5 days, something like that. 4 or 5 days.
Something like that, yeah.
The first day of its release, it started, I think, at number 11 on trending, and then it climbed to 3, then 2, and now 1, and it's sitting at 1. It overtook The Mandalorian as number 1 trending on Disney Plus. And something that
Two
had
mixed
a
reviews I've heard too, because I've heard some people are not the
exactly,
biggest fans
yes,
of it.
yeah. He's not. He doesn't mean like 2, like the number 2, like
Yeah.
the movie's gotten mixed reviews, and I have absolutely heard that. But yeah, apparently it is performing really well. So what I will say is, I think Disney is absolutely going to put Black Widow on Disney Plus domestically, and I think they're going to release it theatrically internationally. That's what I think they're gonna do. And it might even be further than that. It might
Mm-hmm.
just be well, I shouldn't say that. I think I think domestically they're gonna release it on Disney Plus. They're gonna do that model, and then I think well, actually, it doesn't like cost them anything. So my guess is that they would just put it on all of Disney Plus with that option.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think they would also do the thing where they just release it in as many theaters as they can. Because I mean, if you have something where Tenet is making 146 million, imagine how much they would make if they did, let's just say like $40 for that
Yeah.
premier access tier of Disney Plus and this model. They could have an opening weekend of like $200 million, which is still a little bit lower than maybe you would want for something like Black Widow.
Yeah.
But in a pandemic, an opening of
I'll
$200
take
million
it.
is incredible. And I
Yeah.
guarantee all of you, Black Widow, I don't know this for sure, but in just my heart and what I've heard, I guarantee you Black Widow probably cost less than Tenet. Like Marvel,
Oh, yeah,
Marvel makes expensive movies, but they do not waste money at Marvel or at Disney as a whole. I feel like Tenet is a lot of wasted money. There's no reason a movie like that needed to cost $300 million. But yeah, that's my take on it. I mean, I said a couple weeks back that I thought genuinely they're gonna put it on Disney Plus. Now I'm actually even more confident in that. I think that they are going to release it on Disney Plus domestically, especially. And then they're just gonna put it in whatever theaters are open to show it as well. I think that kind of hybrid model, I think would be great. The only trick I could see with that is the whole thing of theaters say, well, we're not going to show it if you put it on VOD. Now that's NATO. That's the American theater union that has that rule. I don't know what the rules are for PVOD releases internationally. But if they're able to do it, if they're allowed to do a hybrid release like that, I think that's going to be the best bang for your buck. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes that route eventually. All right. So now our last story here is going to be kind of a big story, but we're not going to touch on all of it because there have been so many developments over the past week, which is everything that's going on with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers. So this started a couple of weeks before DC Fandom. And this is that Ray Fisher basically called out on his Twitter, just called right out, tagged him and everything. Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, and let me get the correct name of the third guy. John Berg. Those are the three. So basically, I'm just scrolling through the tweets just to get the tweets here. Because this whole thing's kind of just been going down on Twitter. That's where it's been going down. So let me get this original thread. Oh. See, I don't know about this though. This is crazy. Sorry, I just read something where AT&T, the parent company of Warner, tweeted a Cyborg gif.
What?
And then he retweeted it with a little heart emoji. So it's I don't know who they think is in the wrong here, because something that you'll see in what I'm about to read is that Warner Media and Warner Brothers Pictures, although they harbor over the same material, they're two different companies.
Different,
and they're both owned by AT&T though, which is what it just is so weird. So it looks like maybe he has the support of the parent company, but maybe not the support of Warner Brothers Pictures.
Because that would be so weird, because you're supporting the actor against your subsidiary.
And this whole thing is happening while he is in deep, deep talks to not cameo, to co-star in The Flash. He's still into.
Isn't he supposed to get
done
his
with the character.
Own movie too? Didn't they bring that back up or something?
He's still slated to have a solo movie and to be the co-star of The Flash while all of this is happening. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to start with this tweet. There have been more. So basically, the whole thing is that he basically said that Joss Whedon made a very uncomfortable, inappropriate, unprofessional work environment on the Justice League. I hesitate to even call them reshoots, just on the Joss Whedon portion of Justice League on that set. And basically he said, and he was not put in check by the producers Jeff Johns and John Berg. Now, Jeff Johns is a humongous part of DC. He is a massive part of DC. He has his hands in the movies. He has his hands in the TV shows. And he definitely has his hands in the comics. He used to be the head of the comics. He since has stepped down from that to focus more on producing. And then Jim Lee has taken over since to run the comic side of things. So Jeff Johns is a big guy. This John Berg guy, I'm not too familiar with. It sounds like he's just a regular, just producer. Just like a Hollywood producer. Basically, so then what happened this week is Ray Fisher tweeted something out saying, let me just find it real quick. He said, "So you can better understand how deep this goes, : After speaking out about Justice League, I received a phone call from the president of DC Films. He doesn't name him here, but that's Walter Hamada, wherein he attempted to throw Joss Whedon and Jeff Berg under the bus in hopes that I would relent on Jeff Johns. I will not, period. And then he said A over E, which is his whole thing with this, which is accountability over entertainment. Yeah, that's like the whole thing that he's been talking about with this is that you got to have accountability over entertainment. So I mean that's big. That's basically he put on his personal social media page that he said the president of DC Films, which he doesn't name, but anyone can look up, and anyone who's a DC fan that watched DC Fandom knows is Walter Hamada. He literally said he attempted to throw Joss Whedon and John Berg under the bus. So basically, listen, we can denounce the actions of these two guys, but you cannot taint Jeff Johns' name, which makes sense because, like I just said, Jeff Johns is a huge part of everything at DC/Warner Media. He's a humongous part of it. And that's just like, it's just terrible to hear that. So then basically, Warner Brothers shot back because clearly Walter Hamada saw that and was very upset, I'd assume.
Yeah.
And so Warner shot back by saying, listen, there is an open investigation going on in this, and Ray Fisher is not even cooperating with the investigation. Like, they basically were like, don't even listen to this guy. He's not even helping us with the investigation that he wanted us to start. To which a lot of people, I saw people, it's really kind of sad to me, because
I saw people were hopping
like,
off the train.
Yeah, people were like, yeah, see, I knew it. He's just being a drama queen, just trying to start stuff.
Yeah.
And then Ray Fisher tweeted this, and he just said, thank you for all the support and for seeing through at Warner Brothers Pictures' desperate and scattershot attempt to discredit me to continue protecting those in power. That's what he's talking about when Warner Brothers Pictures said he's not cooperating. And then Ray Fisher was like, listen, I got the receipts, bro. He said, I met with the investigator via Zoom on August 26th. So this is right after Fandom or right before? Right after Fandom. He said, below is an email I sent to my team and to SAG-AFTRA, which is, the SAG Association, the Screen Actors Guild, immediately after. It says, hey crew, let me throw up the picture. It says here, this is from Ray Fisher's official Twitter. He says, and you see the date right here on Gmail. It says August 26, 2020, 12:49 p.m. Hey crew, just got off the line with the investigator. Had to end the interview early before going into detail with him. He's definitely been put on the case by Warner Brothers Pictures, not Warner Media. Again, Warner Media being the parent company, and then AT&T being the parent company of Warner Media. So again, it kind of sounds like Warner Media and AT&T are on his side, but he's getting no help from Warner Brothers Pictures, basically. So he says he's definitely been put on the case by Warner Brothers Pictures, not Warner Media. His findings will go directly and solely to Warner Brothers Pictures legal. He also had another person on the line as a witness, which we were not made aware of. I told him I needed to have a rep on the line as security for myself. He tried to keep me on the line, but I told him I would need to consult my team before proceeding. Can we jump on a call to discuss soon? Best, Ray. So that right there absolutely sounds to me like he tried to cooperate with the investigation, and they said, okay, well, you're not cooperating the way that we want you to.
We want you to.
Yeah. Which basically means, like, they didn't want him to have his legal counsel on the phone, which is what? Like, what? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So basically, he was like, I am cooperating clearly. Yeah, I don't know. So now that all that's out, what do you think of all this? What are your thoughts on everything? How are you feeling on this whole situation? What do you think the end game is that's going to happen with this?
I don't know. I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna find out that he's correct, and they'll get a slap on the wrist, and that's about it. That's all that's gonna happen. because like I don't think that do I think this is going to end Joss Whedon's career as a director? No. I think he'll direct many movies after this. What his name's Jeff Johns, is that what you said? The two producers?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Jeff Johns and John Berg.
Yeah. I think that they'll still go on to produce multiple movies. And then, yeah, with Ray Fisher, I almost feel like he'll get the short end of the stick because I feel like he hasn't been in anything since Justice League. Like, it did him a disservice almost when he was in the movie.
No, and also, this is something, too, that now, this is something that because he is doing this, the only other thing I can think of is maybe, like, Disney, because Disney is very wants the image of we're doing everything right, everything we do is good, we're trying our best at all times. Not really the case with the John Boyega news, which
True. Yeah.
I guess, do you want to talk about the John Boyega stuff too?
We could touch on it really quick, but
yeah, so I won't pull it up. Yeah, I won't pull it up at all. But I won't even say on the back of this, because who knows when that I think it was GQ. I think it was GQ UK. Who knows when that article was interviewed, when he was interviewed for that article. Like, who knows when he actually spoke about that. It could have been because he saw the Ray Fisher situation. But I won't say either way because I don't know. But basically, John Boyega had this huge, basically he was the cover spread of GQ UK this past week, and he did not relent on anything with his experience with Star Wars. He basically went full on, he did not Disney bash. He didn't really bash anyone, but what he said was, everyone knew. He said Adam knew, meaning Adam Driver. Daisy knew, Daisy Ridley. They got all the finesse. They got all the story. But people like me, people like Kelly Marie Tran, he said even like Oscar Isaac too, to a certain extent, like got sidelined. And it's like, yeah, you can see that. Just watch the movies. You can see that. I mean, Finn became a meme with shouting Ray, that like that's his only line.
How many times does he say that in the movie? Like,
exactly,
it's like the only thing he says.
And what do you want to say? And he made it very clear. He said in the article, he said, and don't harp on J.J. Abrams. That's not who I'm talking about. So again, it's not quite like Ray Fisher, where Ray Fisher is literally adding people names. John Boyega was just like, he's basically, his whole thing was like, don't play around. You know what the vibe was. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I don't need to name names because you know what you did. You sidelined and marginalized the characters of color in the new trilogy. And basically, I think the best thing out of that we'll just, I guess, wrap up the John Boyega stuff is he said, because I think the GQ interviewer said, do you have anything to say directly to Disney? And he said, which is what a lot of, I think fans of color, and especially I think male African American fans, have been saying for years, which is like, John Boyega said, you don't take all the promotion for the first movie and prop up a character of color to make him seem like he is going to be a much bigger deal than he's going to be, and then sideline him for the next two movies. And I was like, that is, I mean, you don't even have to say anything else besides that. I mean, that's literally what happened. And there's no other way to look at it. I mean, literally, you look back at Force Awakens, he was always the one holding the lightsaber. He was always the one on all the posters. He was the center of the posters. You didn't even see Rey's face in the first trailer. All you saw was the little mask she had on. Yeah. Who do you see in the trailer light up the thing? You see Kylo Ren lighting up his, and then Finn with the lightsaber. Yeah. And then you go to the movie and you're like, nope. That's like maybe the first movie you're like, oh, that's like, they kind of like, all right, kind of mess with our expectations, like thinking that it was going to be this guy, but it's really her. But then you're like, oh, that was fun that we did that. but he's
Yeah.
not. He's not important.
Yeah.
He's not important.
And we'll mention it. We'll mention it in the last movie. We'll hint at it a little bit, and then he'll have something to tell Ray, but he's never gonna tell Ray.
Ray,
And
I
then we'll
never
have him
got
go
to
to a
tell you.
casino. We'll have him go to a casino in Last Jedi, and that'll do it. Yep. And then let's just not even put Kelly Marie Tran in the third movie. I mean, what's the point? Which,
And I love how also,
again, not to disagree with him, but it's like obviously they sidelined him, but I feel like you'd have to look at JJ and be like, what were you doing with Kelly Marie Tran's character? Like, I get like the fans didn't like her, but that's no reason to like look at an
write her
actress
out of
and
the
be
movie.
like, well, nobody liked you, so here's your 2 lines, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
also something I just thought of, which I don't know how deeply I want to look into it, but something I did just think of, he makes Finn be the one to sideline her. He makes Finn sideline Rose, which is like even more like fucked up because you're like, it's like, well, it was JJ. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna go down that path. I'm not gonna start saying stuff like that. But it's so fucked up. It's just all this stuff, the Ray Fisher stuff, the John Boyega stuff, all of it needs to be addressed. They need to. I guarantee you, Disney has been kind of quiet on it. I guarantee you, if they talk on it, which I really think they do, Disney's good about that stuff. I think they'll definitely take more action than Warner Brothers, and they will definitely be on John Boyega's side. Like, absolutely. If they ever officially comment on this stuff, they are going.
Kathleen, it was your fault.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he means Kathleen Kennedy. Like, I don't even know who he means, but he just was like, I think it's maybe just one of those things where he was talking like, it was just kind of a building of a ton of stuff. Like, he could just kind of see the direction the wind was blowing. It wasn't really one person in particular. But yeah, so that'll do it for the news. A little bit of a downer to talk about, but it's something that has to be talked about. You know what I mean? It's got to be talked about, like Ray Fisher says in all of his stuff. Accountability over entertainment, always. And I firmly agree and believe in that. All right. So, yeah, with that, since we're not live, I don't think, TJ, do you want to take a quick break, or are we good to...
Yeah, I'll be back in like a minute or 2.
Oh, no problem. All right. Yeah, so we'll be right back in just a second. Hang tight, everybody. welcome back, everybody. So, like we said, it's going to be kind of a shorter show today. We're just going to wind things down with our review of the Avengers game. So, basically, we both got the Avengers game on, what was it, Friday night, right? Or Thursday night? Oh, no, Thursday night, right? Yeah, so we both bought it on Thursday night, or he pre-ordered it a little bit ahead of that, but you couldn't actually play it until Friday morning at 12
If you
a.m.
pre-ordered it like weeks ahead, I think you could have played it that week, like Monday.
Like it
But
unlocked
since
on
I
the first.
pre-ordered it that same week, it was
Yeah. And then same here, because I technically pre-ordered it like a day in advance or like a couple hours in advance. I did not get the open window. So we both had to wait until early Friday morning. I was able to load it up and play about the first hour that night, and then I was just too tired, so I went to bed. Woke up the next day, played it a ton, and then I had to go over. I actually stayed over at about to be my roommate's house for the weekend. So I came back yesterday, and I just tore through it. Me and TJ, we were up last night playing it until I think like 2 a.m. I had we'll get to it, but I had some real frustration with it, and I just got too tired, so I conked out. Didn't finish it last night, and then I finished it up today. So what do you want to just go through? How you played it, how fast you got through it, and stuff like that.
So like I said, I think I started the campaign. We're starting the campaign, obviously, specifically.
Yeah, this is just a review for the campaign and the gameplay.
Yeah, so campaign's probably 8-10 hours, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think I started it Friday, and I played for a little bit, and then I really finished it, or I really played it yesterday, which is Sunday, and then I played it today. And that's when I would say probably yesterday is when I completed most of it. Basically, I liked the story. I liked it more than actually, I don't know. I liked it more than like Fallen Order or a game like that. I mean, we'll get into like the gameplay. I found the combat to be fun.
Okay.
I think what?
No, I'm just in. So you said you like this more than Fallen Order.
Yeah, I like the story more than Fallen Order.
Okay.
I wasn't that big of a fan of the story of Fallen Order.
Okay.
But I think the combat, like I said, I think I said it to you when we were playing. I think it's kind of what you make it, and I feel like some of the characters have more depth in their skill tree than some other characters. Like I feel like Kamala, obviously, like I said, I feel like has the most depth in her skill tree, as far as fighting tactics go, different punches, different combos. I mean, the biggest problem I feel like with this game is the optimization. There's many times, as you're going to get into it as well, is it's just I'm looking at 2 frames a second here on my monitor.
And my word!
And by the way, we're playing on PlayStation
PS4.
4.
So that
just
I mean,
like regular,
as you know,
not pro.
Yeah,
regular
like
PS4.
Yeah, like as you know, we've talked about many times. We have pretty good computer setups. You could see it in the reflection of my TV and TJ's when he moves the chair. But if we had played on that, I am hoping that it would not be that kind of an experience. Yeah. But holy, I think 2 frames a second is generous in some parts. There are literally some. We're talking in the notes. We have it broken down on the overall feel of the game, then a non-spoiler kind of story review, then a spoiler review for everything. If we're talking overall feel, holy gosh. Some parts, and we're talking about like 1% of the overall game, if that, like a fraction of a percent of the overall game. We're talking about seconds at a time, but holy shit, those seconds are awful. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert for my review. I enjoyed the game. I know TJ already said, he enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed the game. But holy shit, they need to do something. I literally said to TJ at one point while we were playing through it, because we were in the Discord chat,
Yeah.
We were talking in Discord as we were both playing through it, because for a while there we were like synced up basically with where we were in the campaign. Um, I literally told him, I was like, I think this game was like 95% done, and they said just push it out, just put it out.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is not a finished game. There's other things. I'm okay. I really liked this game. I want to make that clear, but I have a lot of negative things that I just want to get out of the way. That's why I'm talking about them right now. The other thing that I know me and TJ both, and this is how I know too, that this is a developer thing, because me and TJ we live in two different towns right now. So we're on two different, internet satellites. We're on two different PlayStations. So it's not any of those. You know what I mean? It's not like those things, because we had the exact same issues in the same places of the game.
Yeah.
The other issue that I know he had too is the subtitles. I'm someone that I play with the subtitles on.
Yeah.
I swear to you, they literally just copy and pasted the script. Because literally there was like descriptive stuff where it was like, Bruce looks longingly over the ledge, and it was like,
why?
That's not. And then there were worse parts where it wasn't just like weird that there was like descriptive audio stuff in there, because like we get that, like we work, well, not we anymore, but we work in a movie theater. People need descriptive audio for stuff, but like that's not the same thing as subtitles. Those are two separate things.
Yeah.
And then the worst part was, and it didn't really happen until like the very final mission, the subtitles weren't even correct. It was like they used an old draft of the script that they copied and pasted, because for example,
that part made me think that maybe the voice actor was kind of what's it called? Oh my god. Just kind of free flowing, and kind of going off script a little bit, and then they just like were like, it's close enough, and they went paste into the subtitles. Real quick, sorry, on the story, I just want to touch on, like, in my opinion, the story grabbed me right away. I mean, I was pretty attached to Kamala from the beginning, with the whole relationship with her dad, and her going to this festival a day, and like you said, though, the story I thought was great, but like some of the gameplay is like, oh my god! And I think you're being generous saying 1%. I think it's more than that, because I think there was a lot of times where maybe it didn't get 2 frames, but it was like 10, and it was like what am I even looking at? And especially I don't know if you had the same problem. The final boss fight, I think I called it just like a clusterfuck of frames. So I was like, I really don't even know what's going on here. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, my headphones died for a second.
Oh, okay.
We might have to cut this real short.
Okay.
But I was trying to get him back online. We're good though. We'll see how long we can go. That final boss battle, while it was also, I will say, but this is not the spoiler section, but in the final mission, which is like a really long mission, it's way longer than any of the other missions. Like there's a lot of stuff in it. There's a thing where you have to fight a ship. That battle takes longer than the boss battle. Like I was done with the boss battle even quicker than.
Yeah, the boss battle took me a little longer, I thought.
Oh, really? I thought it was like super quick. Well, okay, there's kind of two. TJ will know what I'm talking about, or anybody's played it. There's kind of like 2 sections of the boss battle. I think maybe I'm just thinking of the first one before the big thing happens. So maybe it did take a little bit longer, but just fighting the actual villain felt like it was like really quick.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong with the boss battle. I feel like they were like throwing everything at, like, every enemy they had created. I feel like they threw at me while I'm trying to for like the biggest problem I had with the boss battle was Cap's part. where you're throwing the shield at the engine, and you're just getting obliterated by
By
the
all the
big
side fire and stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my, I think I died like once or twice. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't even hit this. And then I sent you a Snapchat. Is caps like down, and basically how you revive somebody is there's like a circle that forms around the character, and the other characters come and run into the circle. You have to stand there for about 5 seconds, I think, or so,
Yeah.
and then they get back up. This, when I was playing with the AIs, Cap was down for a good, I think it gives you a 40-second timer. He was down for 40 seconds. Nobody helped me. I was like, hello. And I at least showed you. I was like, they're alive. Like, if you're looking at their health bar.
The AI teammates in this are
Yeah.
god awful.
I think it varies. It would vary to me.
Yes, I think it varied mission to mission.
They would get me sometimes. But what was the problem? The biggest problem you had, not with it was the difficulty problem that you were having.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So there's this one thing, again, not spoilers, but I want to be specific. The mission is called Alone Against AIM. It's one of the first missions when you're fully, you've seen by the trailers and stuff, Tony is in an Iron Man suit. If that's a spoiler for an Avengers game, I'm sorry. But Tony Stark is inside of an Iron Man suit, and you're going on this mission that's called Alone Against AIM. It's basically this mission where you're fighting your way through a city, and you get to this AIM headquarters, because AIM in the game is the main villain. It's the cannon fodder villain. It's the evil corporation of the story and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you basically get to this big, headquarters for AIM, and there's this circle that you have to stay in while Jarvis hacks the door, and you're also fighting off, I think it's 4 or 5 waves. I think it's 4 waves, and then a big tank thing at the end of enemies. But you have to stay inside the circle the entire time. But the way, and I'm getting to the difficulty part in a second. I'm just talking about the actual game. My difficulty issues aside, the actual gameplay. TJ even said he was listening to some review that said Iron Man is not made for that kind of gameplay. When I would be in that circle and somebody would run at me, I would try to do a thruster punch, and Tony kicks in the thrusters, punches him, but then flies 5 feet out of the circle. And then Jarvis is like, sir, remember to stay within the... And you're like, I'm sorry, the fact that every time this guy throws a punch, he flies across the room. Yeah. This character is not meant for a ground punch battle. You know what I mean? Obviously, in the movies, Civil War, he does. But that's because in the movies, he can stay planted to the ground. Yeah. In the video game, you're always hovering. You're always hovering. It's just, it was impossible. And then the difficulty thing on top of it, there's this whole convoluted, kind of weird power level ranking system to tell you how difficult the missions are going to be.
It's basically, real quick, sorry, if you just look at Destiny with light levels and how it says on different missions it's recommended power light level. Yeah. They basically have the same thing where it's just a power level and then just a level. So they have your level 20 and your power level is 39 or something. I don't know. Something like that. But continue.
So basically, I was like, what is going on with this? I kept dying over and over and over and over again. I literally played that level for 2 hours. I died at least 15 times, I would say. Well, I shouldn't say died. I either died or failed the mission because I didn't stay inside the circle.
Because they captured the circle.
Yeah, because, I have to stay inside the circle to capture it, but they don't have to have anyone in it, and then their percentage just keeps going up, because that makes sense. I don't know, that's another crazy thing. Guys, I loved this game. I really like this game, believe me. It's just there's a lot of technical issue, and these are all technical issues.
Yeah,
but with a video game, that's kind of what matters. In a video game, to me, story is second. I think they nailed the story in this game, but the game has to be enjoyable, and it has to, beyond enjoyable, it has to work.
And there's some combat. There's some combat things I think I told you about where, if you've ever played the Arkham games or Marvel Spider-Man on PlayStation, that when the notice above the enemy's head goes yellow or red, to dodge. Okay.
Oh,
but with this, where it's you have to run at. So if you double tap circle, that's dodge. So you can't press it once. You have to press it twice, which doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't know why you wouldn't just do once. Because in my opinion, I think it was Batman. I think it's Arkham where it's it's Spider-Man where you're running at the person and you just press circle once to jump over them,
Yeah.
But this, you have to run at them and hold circle, which I find very awkward for some reason. So I would much rather have it where it's, it's single circle to jump or to dodge. And then maybe you're running at them and you double tap circle to jump over.
You know
them.
why it's awkward? I was just
Why?
thinking in my head, hang on, I have my PS4 controller right here. So right here, right?
Yeah.
You're running at them, and then you have to hold circle, but then you have to move this to tilt the camera around to look at the person you jumped over. That's why it's so awkward, because like this wouldn't be that bad. It's inconvenient, but it wouldn't be that bad. But the fact that you have to go like this and then move like it's like it just doesn't make any sense. It's so overcomplicated.
Don't get me wrong, like we talked about, like the cosmetics are cool, and they have a very Destiny style loot system where you
with
pick
gear
up,
and stuff.
Gear and stuff, but the gear, like in Destiny, you can customize your gear, different shaders, everything. The gear like
and it appears on your body.
Yeah, it doesn't show up over the cosmetics for some reason. So you could have a Hulk skin, but all your gear, like I think Hulk has like wrist things and then like something on his chest or something, but that doesn't show up.
Yeah, it's not physically represented,
which is stupid. Like what like I want to care about the gear. That's the whole reason why that's one of the reasons people love Destiny. Or not one of the reasons, but like a small reason why I like Destiny. And why I played it is because I liked leveling up the gear, but I also like keeping the stuff I could keep and then customizing it and how I liked it. And this game just doesn't do that for some reason, which blows my mind. And they definitely tried to go with the Destiny route, but also trying to change things while making it their own. But it kind of fails in that way, where I wish it would call up Bungie and go, hey, I want your loot system. Can I use it? And they go, yeah, sure. And then I just take it and make it Marvel.
Yes. And like, for example, I'm trying to find a good picture. Okay, this is a good picture right here. Right here. Nope. That's an awful picture. Okay. There we go. Okay, yep, that's very good. Okay, let me pull up on screen here this picture of Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, right here. She wears this outfit, the red and the blue with the red scarf. She puts that on at some point in the game, about halfway through. She changes from wearing a Captain Marvel shirt to wearing this blue and red outfit that's going to be her outfit later on. But this picture here that I have, that's like the box art for the game, she never has the golden symbol on it until the very end when she gets like her like Stark suit for the final battle. And it's like, but her gear is the Ms. Marvel emblem, but it doesn't show up over the thing. Like, why do you advertise? Like, my thing is, why do you advertise that this has the symbol on it, and then in the game there's gear to put that symbol on her, but it doesn't actually show up on her?
Like,
what is the point of that?
Sense.
Like,
it's just things that they tried to do where it's like, let's try to make this our own without blatantly like copying this other game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And of course, obviously, like I said, with the loot system, they do that. It's where you're fighting enemies, they drop armor, and you pick up the armor. And I think I said to you too, is I feel like you get armor way too quickly as well. I feel like it needs to be a grind. You need to be grinding. That's what again. That's another thing draws people to Destiny. It's a grind.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I think this game, they decided to make the grind, instead of the gear, make it the skill points. But to me, getting skill points does nothing for me. That I don't really care to get all the skill points. You know what I mean? But like the gear,
it makes it sound like we fucking hate this game, but we actually really like it. It's just there's a lot of things that I would change.
There's a lot of things that I would change, absolutely. So all right, so let's go let's go over
Spoiler.
to what we
Yeah.
like, and let's
Okay.
go to the spoilers. So
Stuff
let's
like
do
that,
it the same way we do for the movies. I know Letterboxd you can't review games, but let's throw up our star rating. I think I'll go
Okay.
first.
Are we going gameplay and story and everything?
You know what? Because it's a
gameplay
game and it's
factor in?
kind of different, let's do two separate ones. Let's do
Okay.
gameplay and then story. I would go gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it honestly. I would give it a 3 out of 5 for gameplay.
Yeah.
I would give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 stars for gameplay. For story, I would give it a 4.75 out of 5. I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5. I think what this game nails is the story. I think if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a little bit of a gamer fan or a game fan or whatever, I think you're gonna love this game. If you're like a big gamer and stuff, I think that's where you might fall off of this game, is because there's some things that are really frustrating. But that's like my 2 cents on it. What would be your scores?
Gameplay, I probably agree with you with 3. I want to say 2.75 to 3, probably more 3.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's like terrible, but like we said, like
Like for me, I wouldn't go below fresh.
Yeah, no, yeah, like the frames is, oh my god, and just the little tweaks that I said I would make, stuff like that really brings it down in my opinion. With the story, I'd probably go 4.5 because
Really,
like I
really
said,
great.
I've kind of, as soon as I was introduced to Kamala Khan, I kind of fell in love with the character.
Yeah.
I wanted to see her succeed, even though I think, I think you stated it too, she kind of takes a back seat a little bit in the story.
That's you know what, I'm gonna go to a 4.5 out of 5 because
Okay.
the story is pitched that she's the driving force of the game. She's the driving force for like the first hour and a half and like the last 45 minutes, and like a little bit right in the middle, like that. But that's pretty much it. Like she gets sidelined pretty quickly, and she's not on a lot of the missions.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to go into like spoilers and stuff like that real quick?
Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll throw up the old spoiler warning there. Yeah. So why don't you just take it away? Give us whatever spoilers you want to talk about here.
So I liked the whole. Oh my god, I forgot his name. What's the villain's name?
MODOK. George Charlton.
I liked that whole thing. I kind of wish he had the whole like I wish he had the whole glass like thing where he's like just kind of his head like and he's got like little arms and shit like that. I wish I got that whole thing.
He had a little bit of the little arms in this right at the end. He had a little where he went like this with one of them, and I was like, oh, it just flopped to the side.
Yeah, obviously Steve, as you've seen in the trailer, is dead. Turns out he's not dead. He's actually on a spaceship. Which again, that was a cool little.
Oh, don't you mean the Ambrosia Shield satellite?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was a cool mission. One thing I think the voice actors nail real quick was the like you said, the cadence. So it's almost like they're the MCU characters, but it's just different people voicing them.
Yes,
and obviously different character models and stuff like that. Which actually, one other thing I will say is about this game, I found myself getting used to the characters pretty quickly. I thought I would be like, I'd look at like Thor and I'd be like, well, that's not Chris Hemsworth, And
I agree 100%.
I think when they revealed the characters, obviously they had bomb voice actors like Noel North and Troy Baker and the other ones like escape my, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they had like
those are the big ones.
Cream of the crop voice actors.
Yeah,
to play.
But the character models, everybody was like, "Oof!" Like those are rough. And I remember,
and they were.
Like,
to be fair, they were. But it was early.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, I was like, "Oh man, I wish they would just like," because obviously they'd have to pay them for their likeness if they were to use them. And obviously, you'd also get the difficulty with Disney, where Disney'd be like, "Well, people need to know that this isn't like the same thing. It's separate. It's completely separate. Like this story is not involved with the MCU in any way, shape, or form."
That being said, though, we better be getting MCU cosmetics in this game.
Oh yeah.
If we can get the cosmetics, if we can get, oh my God, what is his name? Spider-Man. Jesus, I'm losing my mind. If we can get the MCU suits in the Spider-Man game, we should be able to get the MCU suits in this.
Yeah. But yeah, like I liked the villain MODOK. Obviously, we get a fight with Abomination. That's cool with Hulk, which I actually found to be the most intriguing boss fight. I really liked that fight.
I liked
I actually
that
felt like
fight.
I was using Hulk's abilities.
Yes. Yes.
I do wish there was more of
Yes.
that. Where, like I said, I wish there was
Yeah.
like, oh, there's Doctor Doom, there's Venom. I don't know, Venom. Sure, why not? Even though Spider-Man's not in the game only for PlayStation, he's not in the game yet. But I wish there was more of those kind of name brand boss fights, not just like, oh, this guy in a suit over here. Like, obviously not talking about MODOK. I mean, like, oh, this random like soldier for this company in like a mech suit, I have to fight him. Or this big giant robot ship, something like that. But overall, like I was pretty satisfied with how it ended. And when he jumps into the Sentinel type thing, I was like, oh, geez, this is going somewhere else.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk. We can talk about that really quick. That was because this whole thing is, you see in the trailer that the Quinjet they have, the Chimera, it gets like sucked into the ocean by something. It's being attracted into the ocean by something. There's something in there, or not the ocean, but the San Francisco Bay, I should say. It's like pulling it down. And the thing that you find out that's in there is a Kree Sentinel, which for anybody who has watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. out there, or is just a big Marvel person from the comics, or some of the MCU stuff, but they don't really touch on this part. But basically, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this game is huge for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans because it picks up a lot of what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. covers in this game. It's a big crossover with the actual like content. So basically, Terrigen and Terrigenesis and all that stuff is originally a Kree thing. It came from space.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Terrigenesis is basically you take this Terrigen, which Terra is Earth. You know what I mean? It's basically like they would take the Terrigen to the people of Earth and like see what happens. And this is all like comic book stuff from like long times ago. Like that's basically where like the name comes from and everything. Like the Terrigen Mist is like a big thing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. And it all stems from space. Like it's all to do with the Kree. So that's why it makes sense that Kree Sentinel deep under the water was pulling the Terrigen from the helicarrier in. That's why that makes a lot of sense. And then it must have been the Tarleton, you found out that it was down there or something, something like that. But yeah, and then you see at the end, in the end credit scene of the game, after the Kree Sentinels, which is that's an amazing part of the fight. Kamala, she goes full embiggen. She becomes a giant, the size of the Kree Sentinel, like the size of like more than the Empire State Building, I'd say. And they have this huge fight where they're like basically knee deep in the San Francisco Bay, and she impales him on the San Francisco Bridge. Why did I just
Golden
call
State
it that?
Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, I don't know what. We're out of our minds tonight. She impales him on the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's this awesome moment and stuff. And then cut to the end credit scene. You see that his little chest opens up, and a little Kree ship shoots out into space. Okay. Yeah, it shoots out into space. So it's like maybe there was a little Kree sleeper cell in there, which was actually alluded to in Spider-Man Far From Home, where Talos and them were talking about Nick Fury, Talos. Sorry, we're in the spoiler section, but spoiler for another thing. So maybe that's something where it was maybe a Kree sleeper cell that has been dormant, and now maybe they're going back and being like, "Whoa, the Age of Heroes has returned," or so. I don't know. But yeah, I would say the game was really, really good. Is there anything last things you want to touch on story wise that we haven't hit yet that you think people should know going
Um,
in?
no, I think it's a pretty good story they tell. I think, like you said, I feel like it's like Disney Plus esque, like it's Disney Plus level story.
Yeah.
Um, uh, again, like, you know, overall, just it's a good story. It's just, and it's still a good game. Like we haven't
Hmm.
even dove into the multiplayer yet,
Yeah.
which I'm hearing is mixed, which is like it's not
I'm hearing
expanded enough.
I'm hearing if you play with friends,
It's fun.
if it's fun, but
Yeah,
but if you're playing with randoms or if you're playing with
it's
AI and stuff, forget
yeah,
it. Like forget
yeah,
it. That's what I've
yeah,
heard is that it all comes down to who is on your strike team,
yeah.
which I guess makes sense. I
Yeah,
guess I understand that.
and yeah, I think overall, encompassing everything that we've played, if I'm going to give it like a star rating out of 5, I'd probably give it like a 3.5. I want to say
Yeah, I would say
with
overall,
story and gameplay.
I think overall I'd give it a I think I'd give it a 3.5. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just think some
the
of those
gameplay really
technical
bogs it
things.
down, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I just think
It's
some of those technical things really,
yeah,
really detract from it. And you know, we say the story is on like a Disney Plus. Let's hop out of spoilers here because I want to wrap up
yeah,
out of spoilers. So, whoop, spoiler alert off the screen. Um, we say like we think it's like a Disney Plus level story. But I mean, honestly, that's only because of how good the storytelling in the MCU has gotten. I
hmm,
would put this like on par, like this could have been the story in something like an Age of Ultron. Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I think that like Age of Ultron, the actual story of Age of Ultron, like what that movie's about, I think is definitely on par with the story in this game.
yeah,
If not, I think maybe the story in this game is a little bit better than the story in Age of Ultron.
hmm,
But yeah, and what we just said was we just gave kind of a overall in at the end of the spoiler section an overall score. So I'll just repeat it. I went with just a 3.5. I think it's just something that you know the gameplay really just tarnishes it, brings it down a couple
hmm.
levels. And what was yours?
3.5, same for the
Yeah.
same exact reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's one of those things that's really and of course, like all games nowadays, there's gonna be updates that change things. They're gonna get better, they're gonna optimize it. It's just you would hope and this is a game that was delayed a couple times already. It's just like you would hope
Hmm.
that you know that stuff would be done before release. I don't know. I just think in general, I think video games take longer than video game companies give people to make them nowadays. You know what I mean? I just
Oh, I mean, with the whole idea of like about crunch and
yeah,
stuff
like
like
the
that.
crunch
Yeah,
hours and stuff
yeah, exactly.
but that's
Yeah,
the thing, if this is the product even while they're doing that, you
yeah.
got to
It's
give
like
some breathing room. Yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like just start the game early or just put it out a little bit late. Like I just don't understand
yeah,
like just take some extra time. Like it you will
yeah,
notice the difference and also your customer base will appreciate not
yeah.
working the employees to death. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like but yeah. So I think unless you got anything else you want to touch on, I think that'll do it for this
That'll
show.
do it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did end up being a little bit of a quicker one. We're at about an hour and a
yeah.
half. But yeah, man, I don't know. Good game, I
I'll be
would
happy
say.
to. I'll be happy to. I'll be sure to see if my prediction comes true with what was it, Suicide Squad or Gotham Knights is better than this game.
You said both of them. You said
Both of
both
them.
these
Yeah.
games. Yeah. And so far, I'd say maybe they have a good shot. But we will see. So just a few pieces of good housekeeping here before we head off. Again, I'm gonna be talking to Donald and TJ in the next couple of days. I'm gonna try and get them all set up to do a show on Thursday. I just gotta see, you know, if I can email them, you know, like the stream key or something to see if they could just
Hmm.
do it quick live on YouTube. Like just signed in, or not even signed in on my account, but just I think if I give them the stream key, it'll work. Um, and so we'll keep you updated on that. Keep an eye out for our Twitter. That's at Planet Film Pod. On Twitter, I am at Paste Eating Yak. TJ.
I'm at TJ _Cornwell.
And we'll be tweeting about it. He'll be retweeting everything. I'll be retweeting everything. So if there's any news, follow us there. I'll also make a post in the Facebook group, which is just Planet Film Pod on Facebook. There's a page and a group. And yeah. So other than that, I think that'll do it. Like you said, as long as everything goes correctly, this will be going up tomorrow night, which is Tuesday. So again, if there's any news we missed, that's why. Yeah. So I'll say my name is Sean Monk.
And I'm TJ Cornwell.
And stay safe. And always remember to be excellent to one another and party on, dudes. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.